Have you ever wondered why some people seem to walk into the day like they own it, while others drag themselves through it like it's already lost? It's not luck, it's not talent, it's not even motivation. It's the way they begin. The moment their eyes open, the choices they make before the world even knows they're awake. Those tiny silent decisions decide everything. If you've been feeling stuck, unmotivated, overwhelmed, like life is running you instead of the other way around, then keep listening. Because what you're about to hear can flip your entire day, your entire mindset, your entire life. This isn't just about waking up early. This is about waking up with intention. Stay until the end of this video, and you'll understand why the morning isn't just the start of your day, it's the start of your power. Most people don't realize that the first moments after you wake up are the most vulnerable and the most powerful. In those minutes, your brain is like wet cement. Whatever you pour into it will take shape for the rest of the day. If the first thing you grab is your phone, scrolling through other people's lives, your mind becomes reactive. If you lie there thinking about your problems, you've already handed your energy to fear. But if you rise with clarity, with focus, with a decision to lead your life instead of chase it, you create a foundation no chaos can shake. Science backs this. Your brain operates in theta and alpha waves when you first wake. That's the most impressionable state of your consciousness. Your thoughts, emotions, and even beliefs are being written in permanent ink. So when you wake up with negativity, procrastination, or distractions, you're not just losing time. You're shaping your identity. And that identity determines what you'll tolerate, what you'll chase, and what you'll become. The most successful people on the planet don't just own businesses. They own their mornings. And that ownership bleeds into every part of their lives. Because when you wake up and take command, something shifts inside you. Your confidence sharpens. Your self-worth grows. You begin to believe in yourself again. And belief is the seed of every breakthrough. But here's the truth. Most people never notice this silent power. Because the world teaches you to start fast, to check emails, respond to texts, scroll, worry, rush. And slowly, without knowing it, your life becomes noise. Noise from the outside world drowning out your inner voice. And that voice, the one inside you that's meant to lead, meant to create, meant to rise, that voice becomes a whisper. But it doesn't have to stay that way. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to own your morning. You just need to wake up and choose. Choose to feed your mind, not your doubt. Choose to move, breathe, reflect instead of react. Choose to build a moment of peace before stepping into the storm. And that choice, repeated daily, becomes your power, your control, your edge. Because the morning doesn't care about your past. It only listens to your decision. And when you start each day with the decision to rise, not just from sleep, but from fear, doubt, laziness, you win more than the morning. You win yourself back. And that's the real victory. The one that changes everything. Ready to find out how to win the war in your mind before the day even begins. Let's go deeper. There is a moment every morning where your future is decided. It's not loud. It doesn't come with alarms or warning signs. It's quiet. It's private. It's you versus you. One voice tells you to rise, to move, to show up for your life. The other whispers that 5 more minutes won't hurt. But that small delay, that little compromise is not harmless. It's a vote for your lesser self. And the truth is, the moment you hit snooze, you're not just delaying your morning, you're delaying your progress. You're sending a message to your own mind that your goals can wait, that your growth isn't urgent, and that comfort matters more than commitment. Psychologically, that moment is powerful. It triggers a pattern. Because when you start the day with hesitation, it doesn't end there. It spreads. Your decisions get softer. Your energy gets weaker. You carry that sluggish start into every part of your life. Your focus, your confidence, your willpower. One choice sets the tone, and the body follows the mind. So, if your first action of the day is resistance, everything that comes after feels heavier. But when you rise at the sound of that alarm, not because you feel like it, but because you made a promise to yourself, you train your brain to obey your direction, not your emotions. And that is the root of self-discipline. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing yourself that you are in charge, that you are no longer a slave to how you feel in the moment. You are loyal to what you decided long before the tiredness showed up. That's where real strength lies. In that split second between feeling and action, in that uncomfortable gap where most people fold, the ones who win, who rise, who lead, they don't wait to feel ready. They act first and let the feeling catch up. They understand that if you only move when it's easy, you'll never move when it matters. They realize that the hardest part is not the entire day. It's the first few minutes. That's where the war is. And it is a war between the voice that wants you safe and the voice that wants you strong. The brain is wired for comfort. It wants to keep you in familiar territory, but nothing changes in the comfort zone. Nothing grows there. So you must break the cycle. Every single morning is your chance to take the first punch, to silence the part of you that wants average, to prove again and again that you are serious about your future. Start by keeping a simple promise. Get up when you say you will. That's it. Just that. Over time, your confidence builds, not because of external success, but because you're becoming the kind of person who does what they say. That builds trust in yourself, and self-trust is the foundation of unstoppable confidence. When you trust yourself, you don't need permission. You don't need motivation. You move with clarity, with courage. And once you take that first step, everything changes. The fog lifts, the hesitation fades, energy comes back, not because you waited for it, but because you earned it through action. That's the law. Movement creates momentum, and momentum is the enemy of doubt. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off, remember this: that moment is your battlefield. And you already know who wins when you hesitate. But now you also know who wins when you rise. The moment you rise, instead of hitting snooze, you've already sent a signal to your brain that you're serious. But what comes next is just as important, because rising isn't the victory, it's the beginning. What you do in the minutes after waking up begins shaping the story you live that day. And that story is either built on chaos or structure. That's where routine comes in, not as a rigid robotic schedule, but as a sacred pattern. A rhythm that grounds your mind and aligns your actions with your values. Psychology tells us that our brains crave certainty. When we create predictable morning rituals, we reduce decision fatigue. We calm the chaos before it starts. A solid routine tells your mind, I know who I am. I know what I do. I lead my life. That sense of order is where your confidence starts building, and not the fake kind of confidence, the kind that depends on validation or outcomes. This is the real kind. The kind that comes from consistency, from showing up, from doing what you said you would do even when no one is watching. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. When you take a few quiet minutes to hydrate, stretch your body, breathe deeply, or sit in stillness, you aren't just preparing for the day. You're preparing yourself. You're telling your mind that you matter, that your energy matters, that how you feel and how you think is a priority. And when you start the day prioritizing your inner world, your outer world begins to shift in response. The world may try to steal your focus, but a morning routine gives you an anchor, something solid to come back to, something that reminds you who you are before the noise begins. Because without it, you're pulled in 100 directions. Your mind becomes scattered. Your decisions become reactions. But with a morning rhythm, you act from alignment, from strength, from clarity. There's deep psychology behind this. When you keep promises to yourself, even small ones like making your bed, writing your goals, or drinking water, you reinforce your identity as someone who is disciplined, capable, trustworthy, and that identity begins to rewrite your future. Because we don't rise to our goals, we fall to our systems. And if your system is built on small wins every single morning, you're not just setting up a good day. You're becoming a new person. You'll notice something else too. When you start the day with purpose, the rest of the day feels lighter, your mood improves, your focus sharpens. You walk into challenges with a sense of control because you've already done the hard part. You chose you. You chose discipline over comfort, structure over chaos, progress over excuses. And that choice multiplies. It builds momentum. It becomes who you are. This is why it's never just about habits. It's about identity. Every time you act with intention in the morning, you vote for the version of you that you're trying to become. And the more votes you cast, the more real that version becomes. You're not waiting for the right mindset to show up. You're building it brick by brick, routine by routine. That's why your morning routine is not just a tool. It's a mirror. It reflects what you believe about yourself. And every day, you get to decide what it shows. When you follow through with your morning routine, something begins to shift inside you. You stop feeling like you're chasing the day and start feeling like you're leading it. That shift isn't just mental, it's emotional, even spiritual. Because momentum is more than motion, it's energy, it's power. And when you generate it early, when you build it from the very first hour, you walk through your day with a presence that can't be shaken. Momentum isn't about speed, it's about direction. It means you've already moved once and now the second move is easier. The third feels natural. And by the 10th, you're not forcing yourself anymore. You're flowing. You've tapped into something deeper. That's how progress works. The first step is heavy. The second still takes effort. But after a while, effort becomes identity. You become someone who just does it. Not because life is easy, but because you no longer waste time negotiating with weakness. Psychology calls this the fresh start effect. It's the mental advantage that comes when we see the beginning of something like a new morning as a clean slate. It gives us the freedom to break from the past, to leave behind failure, regret, mistakes, and guilt. Every sunrise holds that power, but only if you take it, because it's not the morning that changes you. It's what you do with it. You may carry the weight of yesterday. You may have had a bad week, a rough year, or a dark season. But momentum doesn't ask where you've been. It asks what you're willing to do now. And when you act despite the heaviness, when you show up anyway, you don't just move forward. You rise. That's why winning the morning is never just about being productive. It's about reclaiming your strength. It's about proving to yourself that the past does not define today. There is something deeply powerful in choosing progress before the world gives you permission. It builds emotional armor, the kind that makes you calmer in chaos, sharper in pressure, more focused when everything around you is noisy, because you already won the most important battle, the one with yourself, and that one echoes throughout the day. It affects how you speak, how you think, how you treat people, how you treat yourself. You'll find that your decisions start to shift, not just in the morning, but throughout the day. You'll start saying no to things that pull you off track. You'll stop tolerating things that drain your energy. You'll feel more centered, more alive, more grounded in your values. That's not coincidence. That's the ripple effect of momentum. It starts as a spark, then becomes a flame, then becomes a fire that can't be put out. And here's the beauty: momentum compounds. One strong morning leads to a stronger week. A stronger week leads to a more focused month. And eventually, you look back and realize that the version of you who struggled to get out of bed no longer exists. You've evolved quietly, consistently, powerfully. You didn't need to shout it. You just kept showing up. That's the real growth. The kind that happens when no one's watching. The kind that starts with a decision, becomes a habit, and transforms into a lifestyle. And it all begins with how you start your day. The momentum you build in the morning is sacred, but momentum is fragile. One wrong input, one careless distraction, and it can disappear before it even takes root. That's why the first hour of your day must be guarded like treasure. Not just because it sets the tone, but because it sets the truth. The truth of who's in control. You or the world. Most people wake up and immediately hand over that control. They open their phone, they scroll through news, notifications, noise, and before they've even stood up, they've allowed the outside world to shape their inner world. But here's the reality. The first hour of your morning isn't just the start of your day. It's the doorway to your mindset, your mood, and your momentum. And if you don't claim that hour, someone else will. Algorithms, opinions, expectations. Everything outside of you is trying to hijack your focus before you've even taken your first breath with intention. And if you allow it, you're not living your life. You're reacting to someone else's. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. The most successful and grounded people don't protect their mornings because it's trendy. They protect them because they understand how easily the mind can be hijacked, especially when it's vulnerable, especially when it's still soft from sleep. That window, those quiet early moments, are when your mind is most teachable. And the lesson it learns in that hour becomes the belief it carries through the rest of the day. So protect it, guard it. Don't trade your first thoughts of the day for someone else's chaos. Don't scroll, don't react, don't let your attention be stolen before you've even decided what matters to you. Instead, choose silence, choose clarity, choose reflection. Do something that connects you to your purpose, not your panic. That could be journaling, or sitting in stillness, or reminding yourself of your goals, or simply breathing with awareness. It's not the ritual that matters, it's the ownership. The awareness that this time belongs to you and no one else. You don't owe the world your mind the moment you wake up. You owe yourself your mind first. And when you give yourself that space, something powerful happens. You begin to lead your life with intention. You start your day with purpose, not pressure. You become proactive, not reactive. And that shift alone can separate those who drift through life from those who drive it forward. There will always be distractions, always be noise, always be reasons to delay your peace. But every morning offers you a choice: to protect your power or to give it away. The ones who rise strong are not necessarily more motivated. They're more disciplined with their attention. They've learned to treat the first hour as sacred, as something that can't be bought, borrowed, or wasted. Because once you've tasted what it feels like to start your day from a place of stillness, clarity, and control, chaos no longer feels natural. You stop craving it. You stop living in reaction. And you start creating a life that reflects your inner world, not one that runs from it. That's the quiet victory, the win that most people never see. But the one that changes everything, no matter what happened yesterday. This morning is a reset, a clean slate, a chance to begin again, not just in your schedule, but in your spirit. That's the miracle most people overlook. They think change takes months or years, but real change starts in moments. And the most powerful moment of all is when you open your eyes and decide, this morning I will show up differently. Not for anyone else, for myself, because I deserve a life that feels like mine. I deserve to feel proud of who I'm becoming. It doesn't matter if you failed yesterday, if you gave in to weakness, if you skipped your routine, if you felt stuck or unmotivated. What matters is that today you're still here. You still have breath in your lungs. You still have time on the clock. That means the game isn't over. And the next play begins with how you start this day. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for anyone to come save you. This is your morning, and it holds the power to change your entire direction. You see, when you treat every morning like a new life, You break the illusion that you're stuck. Because nothing holds you unless you keep holding it. Regret, fear, shame, guilt, they only survive when you carry them into the next day. Let them go. Not because they don't matter, but because they already taught you what you needed to learn. Now it's time to apply the lesson and rise stronger, wiser, more focused. This morning is your comeback. This is how transformation works. Quietly, daily. Not in loud announcements, but in silent decisions. You become powerful not by shouting your goals, but by meeting the sunrise with discipline, with courage, with integrity. And when you do, the world feels different. Not because the world changed, but because you did. When you realize that every morning gives you a new chance to be who you said you would be, life starts to feel lighter, less like a burden, more like a gift. Because now you're not stuck in the past. You're not chained to old habits. You're choosing again and again to evolve. And every day you do that, you build something far more important than success. You build self-respect. And self-respect is what fuels your standards, your boundaries, your energy. It's the quiet force that tells the world, I know who I am. So wake up with gratitude, not just for your breath, but for your ability to begin again. Wake up with fire, not just to work hard, but to live with purpose. Wake up with peace. Not because life is perfect, but because you've stopped giving your power to things you can't control. That is strength. That is freedom. And remember this, no one can give you a powerful morning. No one can rise for you. No one can force you to take back your life. That choice will always belong to you. And it will always begin in the silence of the morning, when the world is still, when the air is fresh, when your mind is open. That is when greatness begins. Every morning is a new life. And every new life is a chance to become exactly who you were born to be. Take that chance, own that hour, win that morning, and watch how the rest of your life starts to follow.